G'day shooters, this is the Akdas Alcor PB223 and it's one of the most anticipated rifles to reach the Australian market in years. The hype over this self-ejecting button release rifle is justified. It's not the first of its kind, but it is the first affordable centerfire version to go on sale here, if only by a few weeks. The trick is the Alcor ejects spent cases by itself the instant after you fire a shot. The action stays locked open afterwards, and all you have to do to chamber another round is press a button on the side of the action, which releases the spring-powered bolt carrier. You're then ready to squeeze the trigger on the next shot. Now, we've seen a number of rimfire rifles on the Australian market that work essentially the same way. We can buy a range of shotguns that work on the same principle too. We've even had one centerfire rifle available in Australia for years, the French-made Verny Caron. Now finally, Akdas has put this $1,600 223 on the market and people are paying attention. It lives up to the hype, if not the overhyped aspects of it. The Alcor is a fairly quick, efficient rifle to shoot. It's well designed and nicely made, with decent accuracy and very good reliability. It ticks all the boxes for a practical, close to medium range rifle for any sorts of animals you'd point a 223 at. It's good enough that it should establish a pretty solid place for itself in the market here. Now, this is not a semi-auto, and nor is it going to replace your sub-MOA bolt action for long or precise shooting. Let's get into the details to explain all that. The first thing you need to know about the Alcor is that it's a gas-operated self-ejector. In other words, a small portion of the propellant gases are siphoned off from the barrel after you fire a shot. That goes down through a small hole under this point of the barrel. There's a piston on a rod underneath the barrel, which is pushed backwards by the gas pressure. Now in turn, this throws the bolt carrier mechanism backwards, opening the action and ejecting the spent case. Disassembling the Alcor for cleaning is simple enough, with a spanner supplied for removing the one crucial nut and a QR code that will direct you to an instructional video for it, so I won't bother showing you how to do it here. The barrel slides into an alloy receiver and the 7-lug rotating bolt head locks directly into machined lugs in the rear of the breech. The rearward movement of the breech block cocks a hammer mounted in the trigger assembly. It's all very familiar stuff in this kind of firearm. And of course, this kind of firearm predominantly means semi-automatics, which of course are virtually banned in Australia. Not only does the button release differentiate the Alcor from a semi-auto, but the trigger mechanism's design precludes any chance of self-loading operation. Even if you were to sabotage the locking mechanism in the PB, the rifle would never stay cocked after firing. The trigger itself is non-adjustable, releasing in the test rifle at an average of 2.3 kilograms or 5 pounds, with noticeably long creep before it does. It's definitely no precision trigger, but it's fine for a quick pointing rifle where you're shooting fast at fleeting targets. In the field, I hit a number of mobs of feral goats and didn't have any reason to complain about the trigger during that. The worst of it was noticing the long travel before release when I was lining up on carefully aimed shots, but then again I didn't miss any of them. Naturally, the trigger's feel is magnified when you're on the bench sighting in and getting your first impressions of the rifle. If it's something you really don't like, a gunsmith can easily take a bit of weight and travel out of it with just a bit of work on it. The Alcor takes copies of PMag style magazines that double stack 10 rounds, and it's supplied with 2 of them. They're lightweight polymer and simple to fill because you can click rounds directly in from the top. They have good spring pressure without it being excessive. They lock in securely and the release button is on the lower right of the receiver. The Alcor incorporates a bolt stop when the magazine is empty, so even when you push the action's release button, it won't go forward, telling you it's time to reload. A second bolt release lever, operated in front of the trigger guard, releases the bolt carrier again. At this stage, the Alcor comes only with a Turkish walnut stock, and some of them have got some pretty nice colour and pattern in them too. There are synthetic stocks in the pipeline. The texture is medium machine cut checkering in the grip areas, and the wood's neatly finished with good fit around the barreled action. You can really see it if you look close. Akdas supplies shims to fit between the butt and the action to adjust cast and pitch. That's usually more of a shotgun thing. However, setting the cast off or on for left-handers makes a difference even on a rifle, especially one where snap shooting is going to be a common thing. By shimming in a bit of cast off, I found the Alcor came to my shoulder noticeably more naturally, with my eye lining up perfectly with the scope every time. This is a small detail perhaps, but it's a really worthwhile one. The self-ejecting action reduces some of the recoil, a soft butt pad alleviates a bit more of the felt recoil, and a comb that angles downwards towards the front ensures that you feel even less of it. There's a bit of extra weight up front in this rifle because of the gas system, but by the time I mounted a lightweight scope, the rifle's weight balanced neatly underneath the magazine. The short 47cm or 8.5 inch barrel has a sporty profile. As such, the Alcor comes onto target rapidly. It's very much a point and shoot rifle. If you like open sights, the Alcors are good ones. The rear has a mid-size U-notch and the front has a high-vis red bead up there with plenty of adjustment all round. I opted to run a scope on the pick rail that comes standard with the Akdas, and I like the way my Leopold VX Freedom 39x40 sat hungered down nice and low in the rings. There's a lot to be said for 1-inch tubes, I must say. A 1:4 power scope or a red dot would be excellent options as well. Set up with the scope, I tried half a dozen types of factory 223 ammo on the bench. I got fairly similar results with 3 of the 55 grain loads that ran an average of 1.4 to 1.5 MOA, which is about what you'd expect of a rifle like this. Akdas only claims 2 MOA accuracy, but you can clearly do better with the right ammo. I shot 3-shot groups, but fired plenty of 5-shot groups or more, and they didn't really open up all that much as the barrel got hot. I had one 60 grain load that I tried, but the rifle hated it. They just didn't cooperate, so I didn't bother doing accuracy testing. It was a bit of a surprise though, given the barrel has a 1 in 7 twist, which is nice and quick. It should stabilise heavy rounds, so I'll put that one down to just a clash of load and barrel. Hunting with ODI ammunition, the Alcor's accuracy was devastating against feral goats. The longest shot I took was about 150 metres and the stationary broadside billy goat dropped on the spot. On running targets, my hit rate was as good as I can usually be with any similar rifle. It meant rarely a miss if I didn't try and pull off any silly shots. But with a few of the animals, I did need to put a follow-up shot into them. Earmuffs are highly recommended. The short barrel results in a really loud report. Akdas ships the Alcor in a solid rifle case, this one just here. It's got foam cutouts inside to cradle the rifle after you remove the barrel, which takes only about a minute or so anyway. As well as getting 2 magazines and the disassembly spanner, Akdas gives you a lightweight sling, a chamber flag, the shims for the butt and a handbook. It's actually a hell of a lot for a $1,599 recommended retail price. The Alcor appears to be a well-made rifle and it certainly cycles reliably, shoots accurately enough, handles beautifully, and most of all its push-button design really is quick and natural to use. It's a great little carbine for fast, close shooting and a good rifle for hunting anything that a 223 will tackle.